guys, so today I'm going to be informing you guys about long distance relationships. So, you can never love someone more than you can miss them. It's an amazing quote by an awesome writer, John Green, that was used in his novel, An Abundance of Catherines. I don't know how many of you guys have heard that. So I can personally relate to this quote because I have been in a long distance relationship for over a year now. His name is Ryan, and he's originally from New Mexico, but he was recruited to a university in South Dakota to play baseball out there, sorry. And so I can tell you guys that you really can never love someone more than you can miss someone. I mean, you can love someone with all of your heart, but it's never the same as how much you want to see that person. So the desire to see someone is always greater than the love you have for them. So how many of you guys have been in love? I was going to say, no one's been in love. And how many of you guys have done fairly unordinary things for your loved one? Is anyone in here in a long distance relationship by any chance? Well, I personally think that being in a long distance relationship is a pretty crazy thing. Now it's going to be fun. So now that I have you all in touch with your soft side, I will be explaining to you guys what exactly a long distance relationship is, why people end up in long distance relationships, and long distance relationships are really as bad as people make them seem. So a long distance relationship, according to Google Dictionary, is a romantic relationship between two people who live far apart from each other and so are unable to meet in a frequent basis. In other words, having a long distance relationship with someone is meaning that your significant other lives, whether it be an hour away or across seas. A long distance relationship consists of a great deal of maturity and emotion. Along with emotional commitment comes trust, energy, patience, and time. And the key to being in a long distance relationship, commitment. You also need communication. Without communication, you just won't make it. So daily communication is a must, since you can't meet up for lunch or dinner or any of those things. So whether you prefer to text, phone calls, or FaceTime, it is always important you have that communication with your loved ones so you can keep that bonding going. You have to be open-minded to be in a long-distance relationship, and you have to have a lot of trust for the person, otherwise it doesn't really work. You also have to make sure you're in a long-distance relationship for the right reasons, not exactly because obviously you're not going to be getting that physical contact. Or if you're the type of person that likes to be in relationships more for the physical intimacy, a long-distance relationship is probably not the best thing for you. So it's better to be in a long-distance relationship because you are committed to them for emotional purposes. So why do people end up in long-distance relationships? There are over 48,000 U.S. troops in Iraq, which leaves a lot of fire homes burning. Because, well, you know, they have to leave, and they leave families, and they leave girlfriends, and wives, and boyfriends, and husbands, and anything. Also, a huge reason of why there are long-distance relationships are colleges, because, you know, you have to move away, and you have to seek for your future. Medical treatment is another huge reason as well. Sometimes people are in need of medical treatment that isn't offered in their state. So they have to seek that medical treatment out of state, and sometimes the couples can't go together. Another huge reason that's becoming really popular is online relationships, which is something that people willingly get into it, but that is another huge reason. So according to longdistancerelationships.com, 32.5% of long-distance relationships are college relationships, which affects us directly. There are over 14 million couples who define themselves to be in a long-distance relationship, which is a lot if you think about it. So the main factors to a long-distance relationship is the economy, obviously, because flying can get super expensive. I know that to go out and see Ryan, I have to pay like $580 for a flight ticket. For a round flight, and it's really expensive, and it's 18 hours away to drive, so commuting is really expensive as well. So economy is the biggest factor. And also now online dating, because it's becoming so popular and people are willingly put themselves into that situation, but it's also a big factor now. So, is a long distance relationship a good or a bad thing? So according to longdistancerelationships.net, yes, there's actually a page created specifically for couples in long distance relationships. Despite what many people think, the rate for long distance relationships don't break up at any higher rate than normal relationships or people who are closer to each other. There is the same amount of satisfaction, trust, and commitment in a normal relationship, in long distance relationships, and there is no evidence that they are more likely to cheat on each other for being far away from each other. It has also been proved that there's a lot of good things about it too. Couples tend to have more meaningful conversations with each other. And in studies conducted, there was a study conducted where about 40,000 couples were asked to keep a daily diary of the interactions they had with their loved one. And once the studies came out or whatever, couples reported that they have a stronger bond than couples who live in the same city. Also, they claim that their partners share more thoughts, feelings, and emotions than someone who's closer to you. So ultimately, distance is supposed to make the heart grow fonder. Now that we all know exactly what a long distance relationship is, why people involve themselves in long distance relationships, and that they're really not as bad as people make them seem, we can conclude that we are all better at understanding this, and hopefully all of you guys will keep an open mind towards a long distance relationship and won't turn it down, because there's a lot of good things to it. It is really hard, but it's definitely worth it when you get to see the person.